Again, we've got a fairly short agenda because we're talking really a couple of workshops here later. We've already done our executive session. There is no new business. The old business that remains was last week. It's a proposal for the animal emergency clinic contract. This is the clinic for the clinic that's in Portland, the Down East Veterinarian Emergency Clinic.
Since our attorney recommended that this contract is in order, I will move that we approve the contract.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Just to bring you up to date, I did check with a couple of the other vet clinics, and there's none locally that, or more local than this one that provides the 24-hour emergency service. The one that did, the one in Arundel, no longer does it because of staffing issues that they have down there. So,
Okay. And this is as a pay-as-you-go type thing, right? There's no,
At a discounted rate?
yeah, must be
yeah,
a
there's no
discounted
retainer.
rate. Anything further? All those in favor?
I'd like to move that we add item 2 onto old business, and that is the contract for the town planner.
You want to second that?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Then I'll move that we approve the contract as written between the town and the town planner.
My only question would be, this hasn't had legal review yet, and I think that we should go through that step first.
Do we do this in all contracts? Is that pretty much...
The town administrators went to for legal review.
Okay, then I'll withdraw the motion.
I'll submit a motion then that we move the town planner's contract for review with the town attorney prior to us making any formal decision.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved and seconded to forward it to Natalie. All those in favor? Opposed? And I would presume she'd have that done sometime in the week, right?
Are we looking at writing up contracts for all the employees in the town hall?
There is no plan to do that currently. This was something that has been in the discussion phase for some time, but there's no, I know, of a plan to do it for everybody. We have a bargaining unit that there is a contract with, but
So this would be the third employment contract that we have in this town? Third one, I can think
As far
of
as
off
I
the top
know.
of my head.
town administrator is a contract. We have a contract now with the IT
And the town planner.
and town plan. Yeah, I'm just making a note, and you need to bring that for next week. Okay. Other warrants and bills of payroll.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
An issue with one of them, the wording and, also the bills and payroll, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
okay.
No issue. I'll retract that.
Discuss and vote to sign minutes of 2/16.
There's Representative Wagner is listed as Selectman Wagner in the minutes.
I thought we were doing bills and payroll, because the minutes, I do have them.
That's what we're doing now is minutes.
Oh, okay. All right. Is there-
Well, he's here often enough to be a selectman. He's present as Representative Wagner.
In the discussion, he's referred to as Selectman Wagner.
So we need to make that change.
Yeah.
And the other thing, when I was reading through it, towards the end.
Dennis, it's on page 1, 3 sentences up from the bottom.
That's now changed to Representative Wagner on this copy. So, the copy that's here to be signed says Representative Wagner. Who was the other one?
The other one's on page 2,
Yeah.
3 lines up from where it says new business. The sentence is Selectman Littlefield reported that he checked on the vehicles as questioned a couple of weeks ago and was told that they weren't purchased not. A purchase and sales agreement was done last year. I think that I mean, that weren't purchased not thing is certainly not clear. So I'm going to review the tape again and amend that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of some, though they, it's got to say they were purchased through a purchase and sales agreement that was done last year. I think that was the issue, right?
Right,
So,
and they were, actually they took delivery, you know, at the time that it came out in the newspapers, so.
how about this? How about you with Pam and have her redo the thing based on what the discussion was and carry it to the next week and approve them then.
Okay.
And I think the other one has been done,
Yep.
yeah. Okay. So, I guess we have a motion to, I guess, no, it wasn't seconded, right? So it dies for the lack of a second, so we'll bring it back next week. Okay, pending decisions as reminders, committee involvement, training proposal, staff training. I think Nancy, you said that you were,
Yeah, 2 and 3 can be put on next week's agenda. At the department head meeting on Thursday, we'll finalize it.
okay. Transfer station recommendation, I think that's still working on piece of it, but we have to bring to closure the recommendation that they made to us. And now that we've at least got that information from Kevin, we probably ought to bring that back as a discussion item.
Impossible action, yeah.
Yeah. Comprehensive plan, we're going through another workshop here in a few minutes. And then, as just a reminder, safe routes to schools, we need to keep that rocking and rolling.
Yep. Tom submitted a list of to-dos for the road review committee, and I'm working with them. And the meeting will be next week, and we'll start ticking off that list and getting everything to Tom that needs to be done. They've already done a good portion of the work that needs to be done. I think it was a lot of fine-tuning and getting some specifics down on paper, and that'll move along nicely.
Now, we're going to have enough information for the property issues on there too? You know, if we're looking at a sidewalk and is it going to affect owners? That seemed to me the most complicated part of it to get information on.
Response to that? Do I need that, or this slide?
No, go ahead, yeah.
John's point is well taken. To lay out sidewalks, most people would say, we've got a flat run, let's hypothetically say it was Old Alfred Road, okay, or a portion of Old Alfred Road. It may look flat, but there are right-of-way issues, there's telephone pole issues, there's guide wire issues, there's drainage issues, and all these things are part and parcel of designing a sidewalk that has long life expectancy. And so we will need to know if it's in a town right-of-way, a state right-of-way, or if it in fact infringes on some private property. So that's going to require a little bit of research, not necessarily needed for the initial application, but the great fear when you put together these applications is that you'd rather have enough buffer in there rather than be shortchanged and then be able not to complete a project or fulfill the town's responsibilities because there was a taking issue, or it was on the wrong side of the street, or there was a disagreement with CMP. So there's a lot of discussion that goes on before the application, pre-application, when it's submitted, because if those red flags are raised in Augusta, we need to be prepared to respond to them. And so that's what determines who cuts bait and who fishes.
Okay.
Is there any issue about having it raised or street level too? You know, I'm thinking street level may not be a plowing issue. You know, that when you plow on the road, you go over another couple feet and plow that area, and if it's raised, then we're having a separate contract for plowing like we do on the West Road.
You bring up a good point, John. You know, when you, again, a sidewalk is not necessarily an easy endeavor, okay? It's as complicated as building a road. When you have your edge of pavement on a street, traditionally you have a shoulder. And traditionally with that shoulder you have some means of drainage between the edge of pavement, the shoulder, and the sidewalk. In some cases, some people say, well, let's just butt the sidewalk to the edge of pavement. Not a good idea, because you have some severe drainage issues because all roads are traditionally built with crowns. And so when the water sheets off that crown, it'll come into a sidewalk, and when you have your movements in the springtime, you'll lose the sidewalk if a strong base isn't built. So that's why I brought up the issue of a sub-base. The sidewalk is only as good as the footprint. So, and I don't mean to get into too many technicalities, but we want to do it right, particularly when we're looking for state money in that program. We don't want to ask for too little in order so that we can do the job right. But I feel a responsibility to the road review committee and to the Board of Selectmen to let you know that just because it's flat doesn't make it easy. In fact, it makes it more challenging.
I think there's a safety issue there as well, because there's no clear delineation where the road stops and the sidewalk begins, and if you have foot traffic, I think that vehicle traffic is going to many times encroach upon that, and we'll probably be opening ourselves up for, you know, some pedestrian accidents.
It's a point well taken, Gordon. You know, we want to do this so that we precisely know where the road ends, where the sidewalk begins, and whose property it's on. So there are a lot of technicalities, and I just feel a responsibility as your planner to talk about those in the beginning rather than when the project is being built, or hopefully being built.
And all of that will come too with the engineering of the project.
So the road review has the tickler file, so to speak. So we just keep this as a placeholder, right?
Sure.
Until they get there.
I think with the tick list, it allows you to go as far as we can, and then if there are any other pending issues that need resolution before an application is submitted, then at least we'll be talking about it months in advance rather than at the 11th hour. That was our whole objective when Tammy, Joe, and I talked about this.
All right. Okay, any action items out of tonight? Other than sending a review to Natalie. Discussion of agenda items, I've got the contract, I got the training proposal, I got the staff training, I've got the transfer station committee recommendation. If we're gonna discuss that, we probably ought to invite D&E in. Not sure that I think we need to discuss it before. We can do it two ways. We can have another workshop amongst ourselves in the committee, or if everybody feels they got enough information to move forward, then we put it on the agenda and we'll discuss it. But Dean did ask that if we get to the point where we vote, that we would invite him to be here.
Well, if we're going to put it on the agenda for discussion and possible vote, then we want to
Yep.
invite him next week.
So, and he's
Just
part
put
of
it happen
our,
then.
part of our action is we put it on there, but make sure that he gets invited. And I think the other contractors, if they, right, anybody else that's hauling commercially into,
It's not just D&E that's
Right.
potentially impacted.
probably the bigger impact to him.
The Old Home Days Committee,
But
they had an email that said to be here this evening at 6 o'clock, but they did not end up on the agenda, so we need to schedule them for next week.
I think we've got, according to this, the sheriff coming in, so I'm going to say that we just say it's the sheriff and the Old Home Days Committee, and we put on the Old Home Days Committee first. Everybody's okay with that? Anything else for next week's agenda?
I'd like an update on Lot 13, the town property that's adjacent to the dam in North Waterboro, to see what's been done with that so far, and the update on the campground.
Campground, they're coming back in on the 23rd of March.
Okay,
Patty and
then I'll
they're
hold
scheduled to come back.
on that one.
And I'd like to discuss the signs that are proposed by the Economic Development Committee.
Which one of those signs are they?
We'll talk about it next week.
Are we gonna, I just don't want to go down the road where they ask us about the 4 signs. If they've got a sign that they've spent the time on and want, I don't want to second guess their decision,
It's our decision on which sign to go with, and then they would like the board to make a decision on which sign so that they can go out and start getting cost.
Okay. So they're passing the ball on us.
Oh, the committee has a sign that they want, but ultimately it's the board's decision.
So if we don't pick the one that they want, is that gonna be?
Then it goes with the one
They
that the
withdraw
selectmen
all of
want.
All right.
Is it wise to have that published on the website and let people, comment on it?
I think if you get a copy of them, put them up on the website, and if people want to vote on which one they like best, record it, somehow, I don't know. But, all right. Anything else on next week's agenda? Okay, don't forget, items needing signature and warrants, bills, and payroll, defer the minutes and the agreement with the Animal Emergency Clinic, although I think that's just my signature by the looks of the contract. All right, we're
Do you
gonna go in.
still do a hearing of delegation?
We did not have one tonight because this is our 4th meeting of the month and it's a workshop, but if you'd like to.
Well, because Diane, I hope, I didn't see it, but I was hoping Diane would have sent an email to the board with respect to some concerns that we had as a finance committee, in that we were hoping, you did get it, wonderful. We were hoping that we would get the actual written articles to make our recommendation on. That was a bone of contention last year, because we got a budget, and the numbers were all in the budget, but when it got put into written format, it gave the appearance that we voted for certain expenditures when we didn't. So if we could get the articles as written and then make a recommendation on the articles as written, that would be the way to go. And we've
Yeah, I
only
mean-
got until March 9th to
Ultimately,
get
the
it.
articles, the warrant won't be published until the time frame in front of town meeting, but there's no reason that, we got what? When do you guys gotta be back to us? I think it's said in there.
March
right?
9th.
March
March
9th, we
9th.
have to have our recommendations to you, which is 2 weeks.
Well, I think that, if I can interject here, Dennis, a little bit, the budget, the warrant is based on the budget.
Yeah.
We have to have our budget done and decide what we want for costs to go into the warrant.
Mhm.
So we can't do the warrant articles until the selectmen vote on a budget. Last year, I agreed, the finance committee, it was the 9th hour when the finance committee got the warrant, the articles, and it didn't work last year.
Right.
So that was why we put a new process in place this year. Based on setting the March 9th deadline for the budget committee, the finance committee to report to us with recommendation, suggestions, and then the board is going to take the budget again after we get your input and say, all right, this budget that we originally submitted to the finance committee, is this what we want to put forward? Or based on some changes, recommendations, or whatnot the finance committee makes, maybe there's something that we want to change. Then the intent was for us to vote on the budget so that the warrant could get written much earlier this year, and then that can go to the finance committee for you to make your recommendations.
In time for it to go to print?
The goal is to have the town report done and printed by May this year.
So when would we have to have our recommendations on the written warrant to you? I mean, we've already made comments on the budget. Not sure how much of it's gotten to you because we're meeting again next week, but we've already made
Well, I mean,
comments.
ultimately, I think there was some questions in the email that I saw today and in this memo, which is the same thing. And I think, I'm not sure whether you responded back yet, Nancy, or not, but I thought, saw a draft. But in that timeline, Tammy Jo, I don't know if you still got it on your computer there, but I think from a budgeting perspective, they would do back the early March, is all I remember.
Yes,
So
March
it's the
9th is
9th
what we
March 9th
wanted
is-
the recommendations on
on the budget.
the budget, not the articles per se,
And then
but
when,
on the budget.
Well, that's how it went last year, and I want to make crystal clear that any recommendation that we make on the budget this year is not necessarily the recommendation that's going to be on the written article, because money was moved around for leases and all kinds of stuff that we didn't recommend, but it said we recommended it on the warrant.
Well,
so
Debbie, this year, we're still building the budget, and at this point, we are looking for your input as we build the budget. So to put it into the warrant articles now would be premature. So once we get your input, we make our final decision on the budget, then the warrant articles are made, then you can make your decision on whether you support or reject.
So we get two, after you get back to
Your
us, we
decisions
get
on the warrant
2 weeks, which is gonna put us to the 23rd, basically. And we would then start to formalize that in the warrant articles. And I would think that over the next week or so you're probably looking maybe the 6th of April, somewhere in that neighborhood, where we would at least have a draft of all of that, so that you can compare the budget numbers, right? As the way that the warrant draft is, because I think we want to be done about by the middle of April so that we can publish.
By
I mean,
May-
all that's going to be left is the warrant, I mean, because they're already, I think everything's gone to Kerry already for.
Our goal was by April 13th to be done.
So we have a meeting time set up with the finance committee for
Keep in
their.
mind, with the charter, the warrant technically doesn't close until 30 days prior.
Right.
But do we have a meeting set up with the finance, a meeting date set up with the finance committee to get their input on and discuss their input on the budget?
March 9th.
March 9th.
March 9th.
March 9th.
March 9th, okay, thanks.
And I was also under the impression that we were going to get a listing of the proposed budget, which is what all the department heads and administrators or whoever, when they submitted their budget, and then the Board of Selectmen's budget. And that's, I know there's a few that are missing on there, what people were looking for.
It was all on that spreadsheet.
Well, there was at least one that I know of, that budget wasn't included on what was presented to us. It was the budget that was prepared by this person, and then the budget that was prepared or recommended by the selectmen.
Well, the budget that was submitted all the recommendations that came up to a number, right?
It was one that was submitted to Nancy. The budget was submitted to Nancy, and then that's not the budget that was written in.
Well, if it was a department head, it would be one thing, if it's another one, then
Which department was it?
It was the treasurer's.
she's responsible for that budget, so that budget comes
She should be,
from.
the treasurer should be able to request her own budget,
Why?
as well as...
She's not a department head, she's an employee.
Well, according to charter, she should be able to submit her own budget. There was somebody else too.
I think it's, the budget that comes out of the operations, administrative operations here has always been submitted by the town administrator.
And Board of Selectmen.
On a board of selectmen. So I'm not sure where there would be any
I'd
misunderstanding.
have to
with
find it
that,
on the charter one, it wouldn't be there.
So,
And then the only other thing was a bill that I had asked for a couple weeks ago, I still haven't seen it.
What does that have to do with this current, the budget process you're going through now?
That has nothing to do with the current budget, it has to do with our current expenses and revenues. And we do review those.
I mean, I don't have a problem with if you get a bill, the bill's all public record. So I think everything that, if that came from Diane, the list of,
Yeah,
Questions
the email
and
came
whatnot.
from Diane, yeah.
You know, Tammy Jo had put some input by it.
okay.
And then
I haven't, I mean, other than I saw the preliminary, note back to say, hey, what other input do you want to have, so we'll get that back to the committee. Anything else, Tina?
The only other thing was an email I shared with you with respect to a